All right, here we go. The Industry 45 podcast show on Giant TV Niagara. I am your host, Shane Christopher Neal, and today a very special guest from the band Harem Scarem, Mr. Pete Lesperance joins me. Harem Scarem has a brand new album coming out on March the 6th, 2020 called Change the World. The new single is now out called The Death of Me on Frontiers Records. But Pete and I are going to talk about the history of Harem Scarem. You know, back to 91, the debut album. Spawned the hit Slowly Slipping Away. We talk about mood swings. Okay, you cannot talk about Harem Scarem without talking about mood swings. A very special album. Came out with songs like Sentimental Boulevard, sang by Darren James Smith. No Justice, a staple for Harem Scarem. And in 1995, The Voice of Reason. We chat about that. And how about the name change to Rubber in 1999? And then we kind of fast forward. And we start with Mood Swings when it was re-recorded back in 2013 and kind of really got Harem Scarem back into people's faces and on the road again. And we talk about that album. We talk about the album 13, which came out in 2015, United, which was a great album in 2017. And we finish with Change the World, the brand new album, as mentioned, coming out March 6th on Frontiers Records. You can check out all the Industry 45 podcast shows by going to Giant TV Niagara on YouTube. GiantTV.ca is the website, and click on the Industry 45 show. And now, brand new platform, you can check out all the Industry 45 shows at musiclifemagazine.net. So here we go. Harem Scarem. It's Pete Lesperance. It's right now on the Industry 45 podcast show. All right, Harem Scarem, new album coming out. It said initially March 4th. Now it might be March 6th. But it doesn't matter. It's the beginning of March.
I believe it's the 6th.
It's the 6th. I don't know where I got the 4th. Change the World is the name of the album. Pete Lesperance. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So I wanted to, this is funny because for years I've been always a big Harem Scarem fan, and for good reason. Let's face it, they're a damn good band. And I remember in the early 90s when I was in college and your first album came out, 1991. Charted 68th on the Canadian album chart, and just a killer album. What do you remember, or can you tell me you remember about those days back in the late 80s and early 90s when you created this album?
Well, what do I remember about it? Yeah, very little. No, it was a cool time. I mean, Scarem was together for a couple of years probably at that point. Harry and I kind of started it when we were 19. So I think it was around 91 we got signed and got signed to Warner, and we had been doing a lot of playing around Southern Ontario, mostly in Ontario at that time. We hadn't even toured Canada at that point, and we managed to get a record deal with Warner, and yeah, it was a really exciting time. A couple of 20-year-old guys or whatever we were working on records and flying all over. We flew to LA to write with a bunch of different people, and at that time, even in the 90s, like early 90s, LA was like what Nashville is now. It was the bastion of all things rock, and so we felt like we were pretty fucking cool going there, hanging out at the Hyatt on Sunset,
right,
doing co-writes and shit.
So it's funny because when you put the demo out, I was reading that, and because Harry seems very very smart when it comes to producing things and sounds and getting I guess on the leading edge. And you put it on a CD, correct? Not a cassette. A lot of people are handing out demos as cassettes, and then you guys had this concept of handing out a CD, right?
Yep. We, as far as to my knowledge anyway, I've been told we were the first band, at least in Canada, to ever have their demo on CD, and that's because we had an inside cat at one of the CD manufacturing plants, and he ran them for us basically when everyone went home. So we had a bunch of these CDs, and it was like, how did you do that? We're like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know, but look at all these lovely CDs. Yeah.
So you made it sound very easy in that small bit there about getting a record label to buy into Harem Scarem, because you said you were on Warner. So tell me, what was that process? Do you remember what it was like? Like, did they come to see you play and then said, what, we need to sign these guys, and that's what happened, or?
Yeah, we were pursuing a deal, right? We were talking to different labels, and we were doing whatever, and Warner seemed the most interested. We were talking to, at that time, Bob Roper happened to be the A&R guy, so he was the first guy we were kind of approaching about the band, and then they changed hands there. Bob left, and I believe he was a supporter of the band, because it was kind of going around the Warner office now, and then this new gentleman came in, Greg Torrington, who is now working at works for Stingray Radio. He's
Yep.
heavily involved in Stingray. And Greg was actually the A&R guy that signed us at Warner. So yeah, so he came out and saw us in a little club in Oshawa, actually called the Rock Connection, and where we used to play and ram the place. And it was a big, good, fun atmosphere. And, we've been playing a lot. I guess the buzz was kind of getting around. And yeah, that was it. He saw us there and went, sure, yeah, we're looking for a rock band. These guys are a rock band. Let's do that.
You mentioned Stingray, just so you know, our radio stations are owned by Stingray now.
Oh,
so there's a connection.
Stingray's huge.
So
they are huge.
What Slowly Slipping Away, that was the first single on that album, one that you released. Now, was it the first one you wrote, or did it just happen to be the first one you guys released?
It just was the first single out of a bunch of songs. It was the one that kind of got the label's interest the most. And actually, it was a co-write that Harry did with a guy named Mark Ribbler in New York. I wasn't even involved in the writing of that one. So.
I don't think a lot of people realize that back then, rock bands still co-wrote with people because everyone thought, no, that's a country thing, right? And you know that from the space you're in right now, that it's all about co-writes, right? But there was still a lot of that happening in rock and roll back then, too. I don't think people really got that.
Well, I mean, in our world, there was anyway. I mean, there was the Desmond Childs and the Diane Warrens, and all, they were writing all the massive songs for for the Aerosmith and for
Bon Jovi, yeah,
Kiss,
absolutely,
Bon Jovi,
yeah.
You name it, right? Yeah, they were all writing with hit songwriters because they all had hit songs. Funny how that works.
So you have your first album out, things are going well, and then all of a sudden, wham! 1993, you put out Mood Swings, and I was with this guy. I don't know if you remember him. His name's Les Serrana. He's a guitar player from Niagara, and always a big fan of Harem Scarem. And he came to me and said, "You've got to listen to this album." And Sentimental Boulevard was on that, which Darren James Smith sang, and No Justice. Why still today is that a special album? Because I was telling you this before we started recording. I was out last night with music people saying, yeah, Harem Scarem, Mood Swings. First thing they say that comes out.
Yeah. Geez, man, who knows? I guess for the time, I mean, I think it was a step up, quite a step up, in my humble opinion, from our first record. To me, that just felt like we were trying to figure shit out. That never quite felt right to me right from day one. But when I feel we got our shit together on the Mood Swings record and really started following sort of what was probably going to end up sounding like, because if our first record to me doesn't even remotely sound like Harem Scarem anymore. That's not even what we're about. It's very lightweight. It's very fluffy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it was very almost poppy, right? Where Mood Swing was, that was hard rock.
Well, and we just started, I don't know what we started doing. Just something changed, and we just started following a bit of a different muse. I was getting into different players. We were starting to listen to a bit heavier music too, like, even some of the more grungy stuff like Alice in Chains and all that, which really became apparent on our third record, obviously. But we like that. We like letting influences in and doing stuff. And it hasn't always worked out for us, obviously. People's favorite record might be Mood Swings, and then the one right after it, Voice of Reason, is one of people's least favorites.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to next. Was that because, what did you think of Voice of Reason? That was a time in 1995 where now grunge is really getting strong, right? So, and it was a darker sound. And did you think that, or were you writing personally to fit what was happening in the marketplace kind of thing? Or
no, I would never say that, man. Harem Scarem has never done probably what it should have, which is maybe pander a little more to that sort of thing. But really the truth of it is, it's what we were into. Like musically, I was fucking sick of the hair and the bullshit and all the shit from the 90s. It's not my jam, and it hasn't been for a really long time. I just happened to be a guitar player, and that happened to be the kind of music that suited it best. You know what I mean? The style I was wanting to play. And sorry, what was I got off track there.
Well, no, just I want to know what you thought of the album, and if
right. Well, it's one of those things. We worked really hard on it. We were coming off Mood Swings. Actually a bit of a success story for us, just because we got our first publishing deal in Japan. We got our first deals in Japan, and shit was happening. They were talking about a tour in Japan for the next album. So we were like, oh man, this is going well. And we just bought it. It was exactly the opposite of selling out. We just got in a room and started writing songs based on the kind of music we were being influenced by, and the stuff we were listening to. Bands like Jellyfish, Alice in Chains. We would cram together these kind of things, and that's why there's some weird, quirky, circusy kind of quasi Nightmare Before Christmas elements on the record. No, I'm not kidding. Man.
Yeah,
2 or 3 of those songs I was literally smoking a joint, watching Nightmare Before Christmas. And then I went downstairs and I came up with And That's All and a couple of the songs from that record.
Nice.
Because we just thought, holy fuck, man, people are digging us. This is great. Let's see what we can do. Let's move this forward and do something exciting. Meanwhile, we're fucking cutting our own throats because, people loved the AOR-ness and the whatever of the first record, and then they were digging where Mood Swings was going, and we just thought we're just following down this path that we want to go. Meanwhile, boy, did we not know we were taking a left turn at a really pretty bad time, considering we just started getting our thing happening in Japan, right? So
you mentioned Japan in 1999. Okay, so let me ask you this about Japan. So you became, because Japan loves, hard rock. We'll call it hair rock. I don't know, but any of that type of stuff. In 1999, you switched the name of the band to Rubber here for 2 albums, right? But you kept it as Harem Scarem in Japan.
Yeah.
And so explain, I guess I'm trying to, because I remember I bought the DVD. Was it Live at the Gods 2002 as Rubber? And yeah, and I was just kind of, where did that kind of come from? The idea. So you got Voice of Reason out. You've kind of, now all of a sudden you've changed the name of the band, 4 years later.
Well, that's the thing. There was Voice of Reason, but then there was also, I think, another 2 albums in between there before we went to Rubber, right?
Okay.
There was anyway, not obviously they meant absolutely fucking nothing. So let's move right along. Yeah. So no, we really wanted a shot at home. We were listening to more pop music, more pop related music. We were kind of over the rock thing. Everybody was over the rock thing. So we're this rock band. You work your whole life to learn how to play guitar and to do the things that we could do that fit into that genre because we loved it. And then all of a sudden it goes away. It was a very confusing time for us. I'm not going to lie. Like, just our career in general, we were pushed and pulled and always still tried to hold on to our own thing. That's why Scarem sometimes seemed a bit schizophrenic from album to album. And now the big thing with the name change was we really wanted to have a chance in North America. We wanted to give it a shot. We wrote Sunshine. We wrote that album, the first Rubber album, and we firmly believed that it would work. We got Arnold Lanny from the Our Lady Peace Camp. He came in and he mixed it for us. And we had a top 40 hit at radio here in Canada because nobody knew it was Harem Scarem. If we had to put out that album in Canada under Harem Scarem, Sunshine, no, everybody went, what? That fucking hair band? No way. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been the vibe. So we were like, well, fuck it. We'll fool them. We'll write the same song we would have written anyway. We'll just change the name and it'll work. And it did. It was that kind of simple. But unfortunately, again, timing of everything. That was our 6th album with Warner. We only had a 7-album deal with Warner, which we were actually going to finish, which is friggin' unheard of because most bands get dropped or break up or whatever. We actually finished our full 7-album deal with Warner Brothers. And on that note, we finished it as Rubber. Anyway, like I said, very confusing time, stupid fucking idea in hindsight, but whatever. We've always done stupid shit if it's what we felt like doing. You know what I mean? We always just kind of did what we wanted to do. And for 5 minutes, we didn't want to be Scarem anymore. We were sick of it all. We were sick of the music. We were sick of the stigma. We were sick of everything. We just wanted to change shit up.
Did you ever want to just get out, period? Like, and just say, I just don't want to be a guitar. Well, I don't want to be a rock star. Maybe I want to be a guitar player, but I don't want to be at this level. I don't want people telling me what to do, where I got to go. I don't want to travel, to Japan. I don't want to do this fucking shit no more.
Well, I was out. I mean, really, Scarem stopped in whatever year it was, 2007 or 8 or something. We didn't do anything for 5 years. And that was fully intended to be a quit. I mean, we did not expect to come back. There was no thoughts of it even. We were sick of it. We didn't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? We just wanted to pursue other things, productions, whatever we're doing, right? Just do other stuff. And then when the Mood Swings thing came around, the 25-year anniversary of the Mood Swings record, we were like, yeah, okay. Then we had this Kieran gentleman friend of ours who does a nice festival in Europe, and he invited us out for that and to headline, to do the thing, make it the 25th anniversary big deal. We thought, okay, fuck it, we'll re-record the whole record ourselves, so that way we own it. Right. Instead of the label, so that kind of started the people's interest again. We're like, wow, people still kind of give a shit about us. Really? What? Okay.
That's all right. Yeah.
And then it was like, we just started writing, because Harry and I, it's always the same thing. If we don't have the songs, if we don't have anything good to say, we're not talking. You know what I mean? Like we just, and we had nothing. We just felt empty for so long. But I think the Mood Swings thing, after re-recording the record, and going out and doing the tour and reconnecting with fans. And like, I think we did like 10 countries on that tour or something, which was amazing, you know. And after 5 years of breaking up, feeling like total has-beens, fucking washed up, finished, nope, we're back. So yeah, that's all. We just started making records again, and now we're on number 3 of round 2, I guess you would call this. And here we are with
but I just want to. So you didn't have a label at the time. You did the re-recording of Mood Swings. You said, right? This was all independent.
Well, we didn't have a label. We did it ourselves. We do all of our records currently. We make our own records and then we license them through Frontiers.
Frontiers, right? Okay.
Yeah, and Mood Swings 2 was the same process.
So then, 2015, 13 comes out. And you did it through Pledge Music, is that right? Like, I don't know a lot about Pledge, and
yeah, we did. It was a lot of work.
Like, would you recommend that to an artist? Would you say this is a direction you should go to if you're looking for funding, or what's?
Well, not currently. They pretty much shut it down.
Yeah, but now they did.
Shut the model down,
right? But previously, though, did you think at the time that was a good idea?
Yeah, I would put it this way. I think it's a good idea. I think building if you're a new band and you're trying to get that going on, that's going to be tough because you got to build a fan base either way, right? You got to get your shit out there. But for people, and I know a lot of artists that have had success in the past have done stuff like that because their fan base is out there and accessible. You know what I mean? That's why we kind of found it useful. Though again, more work than I would ever want to do again. That's not really my forte, but. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was really good for some fan connection. And we did a few things that were really cool. And yeah, it was a good experience. Would I want to do it again? Probably not.
What did you think of that album? I thought it was a great album, 13. And that was a great show at the Phoenix.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I mean, yeah, I think it was okay. I mean, I think it was good enough that it kind of perpetuated the myth, keeps doing what we're doing, and led us to the next record, which I think, in my humble opinion, I think, not so much 13 maybe, but for me anyway, but United I think is I guess next to Mood Swings I would have to put it if I had to, but so I've been happy with what we've been putting out lately. It's not like we're just shitting it out, we're taking our time, and we're like it was like 2 years in between these last 2 records just because we didn't have the songs, and until we did, we were not ready to do anything.
So explaining this to your relationship, I mean, Darren James Smith has been part of Harem Scarem forever, still is, but Creighton plays on your new album, right? And most of your albums now, and I know Darren's been busy in the Red Dragon Cartel stuff and all that, and he's kind of a singer now and all, but I mean, obviously you still have a good relationship with him, and I see he's in the video, your latest video. Yeah. So kind of explain a little bit about that, because where does Creighton fit in to the picture, other than I guess he's played some live shows in Europe with you guys, and he's on the album?
Yeah, well, he's done a bunch of stuff with us in the past. There was a time there when Darren left the band and Creighton was the drummer, period. So right. Creighton would play on the albums, and he would also come out and do the shows with us live and stuff. And then it was for the Mood Swings thing, and it was mostly because, Darren's such a huge part of that sound with his vocals and everything. We were just like, we should take as close to the original lineup as we could out back to do the thing. So we got Darren back in the band and really realized that, man, the guy's, you know what I mean? He's a fan favorite. He's a great guy. He's a great hang. He's an original member of the band. It's just so much value having him in our band. Like, we love it. But he's our boy. We've been hanging out with the guy for fucking 30 years, right? So, and he's a 1 in a million kind of guy too, which is great for the fans. And so anyway, for the live shows, it makes perfect sense. And his voice is such a huge part of the sound. So he comes out and plays drums live. Creighton is a very busy studio musician, arranger, like all kinds of stuff. He's got a studio here in Toronto, and we love his playing. So Scarem just kind of turned into a bit of a project over the years. And Harry and I are the center, and we just kind of always have been. We write all the songs and we record them. We do everything. And then we call Creighton in. Creighton comes to the studio, plays drums on the records. Then Darren comes in, he sings backup vocals on the records. I play the bass and stuff, and then we hire Mike Vassos to come out and play live with us. And that's kind of the arrangement. So it's a little bit of a project thing. We have different people involved, but the live band is kind of, the core is Darren and Harry and I. Right. And then, Mike's a great new addition as well. Like I said, Mike Vassos. But for the most part, that's kind of how it rolls out. Okay, but it's bass. It doesn't matter. No, I'm kidding. So 5 fingers, 4 strings. How hard can it be? How hard can it be, right? So how come, like, over the years, obviously from the beginning, you and Harry, what has made that relationship so special besides the number of years
that you've had the relationship. Like, why has it just been this magic that works with you guys? And does it work that simply when you sit down and work together? It's like just, yeah, bang. Or do you fight a lot about how things are going to happen and just the people see all of the fruits at the end of it? Or explain that relationship, because you've known him for a long time.
Yeah, man, it's pretty, it's pretty basic. It's like Harry and I just get along. We have the same vision of what we want musically. I think what we have a lot in each other is trust. You know what I mean? Like Harry and I don't, even a lot of the writing, we don't do a lot of it together. We do a lot of it separately. And then we get together on Skype or get together at my place and we'll go over stuff and go, okay, hey, this part, I got this part. What do you think of this? Yeah, that'll go great into this. And then we start hammering things together, but we're always on the same page. Like, it's not the kind of thing where we write 30 songs or 40 songs and then go, okay, now we got to pick 10. Like, we don't do that. We write exactly how many songs we need for a record. We always have.
There's no fucking around here.
Well, exactly. Well, in our humble opinion, you know what I mean? We just don't finish anything that we think we would even question whether or not we want it on a record. If it's even in question, then you're talking about the wrong song,
Right.
We have to, once we figure out that we've nailed down the songs, then we just move forward on those 10 songs. And we know they're solid already before we start recording anything, because you better know they're good before you hit record. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way we work. We work separately, then come together, do that thing. I don't know if I think the most magic thing about Harry and I is just the plain simple fact that we're on the same page. Like we've never in our entire lives had a creative disagreement, even, I would call it.
Right.
Like we just get along great. We don't fight. There's nothing interesting, no drama here. We're just two normal fucking guys that make music, That's kind of, and we really care about it, and we take the music part of it very seriously and take every single other thing about it very unseriously. I know that's not a word, but
well, you've got a new album you've created, so let's talk about that then. 2020 Changed the World, your 15th studio album, I believe, coming out March the 6th. Deluxe edition has a DVD and a bunch of bonus stuff. That sounds exciting. So talk about the process of writing Change the World, maybe, and where that kind of fits, I guess, with everything else that you've kind of done through your career.
Well, Change the World took us a long time, I think, just because after the United record, we felt a little bit tapped again. We felt a little bit like, wow, and then, it got really good reviews. Fans really liked it. They were comparing it, even like with the Mood Swings album. And, it got a lot of really good press and made us really feel like, okay, people kind of think we're back. Oh, fuck. Now we really got to do something good. Now what are we going to do? Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck. That's kind of how we felt, in the beginning. And we were busy doing other shit too. And sometimes you just don't want to do it, man. Sometimes you just don't want to write Harem Scarem songs.
Right.
Sometimes you're busy doing a million other things for 5 months and you don't even think about it. That's just kind of the way we go. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm playing. I get to start getting some rock ideas and I start putting some stuff together, and then we start talking about it. You want to start throwing some ideas around. And, maybe it's got to be almost a year ago now, we started throwing the ideas around for the songs, and over the few months it develops. And then, you come to a point where you've got all the songs in theory. They're all mapped out with programs and program drums and everything. And then we go, okay, now we're ready to go start cutting the drums. So that's what we do. We'll take the programs that I've made here, take them to Harry's studio, get Creighton to come in and cut the drums real, like the live drums for the record. And then we start building everything from there. After that, it's a pretty quick process. I think we cut drums for the Scarem record in August, and the whole record was done, I believe, by the end of October or something like that. And we didn't really rush. And we work completely separately. I work at home on all the music, and Harry works at his place on all the vocals and does the backup vocals with Darren or whoever else. And and then in the end we come back together at his place, Vespa, at the studio. I bring all the tracks I've done here, he brings all the tracks he's done at home, and we take them to Vespa and mix it there.
So the single, The Death of Me.
Yes.
So you got Change the World as the title of the album, and The Death of Me is the title of the first single. You did the video, just came out yesterday. Talk about that song. I really like it. In fact, I didn't hear it until yesterday when I watched the video last night. Cool video, pretty straightforward, you guys playing, and I don't know the guy in the snow who fell over and such, but anyway, talk about the song.
Well, I mean, I don't know. What do you say about the song? Lyrics are not my department, so I'm not exactly sure what Harry had in mind when he was writing it. But I think I think it's basically kind of an ironic love song in the way of he's just telling this other person, you will not be the death of me, not this time. I've been pushed to the limit of it. It's just it's about, I believe, to paraphrase for Mr. Hess, I believe it's kind of about standing yourself up and letting someone know that they're not going to fucking take you down. You're not going to, crawl without them. So,
is it the best song on the album? Do you think, or
I don't think so.
No,
I definitely don't think so. I like it.
Okay, what's your favorite song on the album?
Favorite, yeah. See, favorite's a hard word. I don't really know. I don't know. I think Change the World is pretty cool. I like the message. I like that it sounds a little bit different for Scarem in a couple ways, what we did on it. Tony Harnell sings on it. Actually, he does some great stuff at the end of that tune. And I really enjoy hearing his voice in our music because I loved the old TNT stuff. I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear Tony on our show. Like, fuck, that's Tony. Tony sang on our stuff before, but on this track, he's really out there. He's doing some really cool vamps at the end of the song. And so I really like that one. I like Fire and Gasoline. I like Ride in My Head. I kind of like the Rockers, you know what I mean? I think those are my favorites on the record, I would have to say, probably.
And you're going to tour a little bit. I see one date being, and I just point this out because I'm going to go, May 31st at the ROCKPILE in Toronto.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, we are doing a couple Ontario shows, too.
Yeah, and you're going over to where? You're going to Europe, correct?
We're going to Europe. In June, we're going to Europe, and also we're going back in November, but I don't know what's going to be booked around that yet. But yeah, there's like 6 or 7 shows in Europe in June.
Okay, so anything else on that album before I'm going to conclude with a few quick questions, but anything else that you can add from, the last year of doing Change the World?
No, man. Just
go and buy it. Just go buy it.
Just go out and buy the damn thing. No, it's the same old, man. If you like Scarem, we're trying to still make great music for you, doing our very best, and, we hope people love it. That's all.
Okay, this might be challenging, but the best song you feel that you have written ever? On a Scarem album, we'll call, the best song.
The best song that I think that we've written on a Scarem.
Yeah.
Best. Oh man, geez.
That's too okay.
I don't even know how you could, just because what's best. I mean,
no, I know.
I might have.
Okay, what's your favorite? What's your favorite to play? You play a lot of live shows. When you're there, is it something like Hard to Love? Is it something off Mood Swings and No Justice? Is there one particular song that kind of stands out where you're like, I got to play this every time Scarem plays live because I love it?
Well, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't even say that. I love playing live, period. I love playing them all. But the songs that are the best are the songs that the people like. You know what I mean? So it's always great when we play No Justice because people go apeshit. Or It's always great when we play Change Comes Around, or which, of course, are both off the Mood Swings album. But, those are the songs we've been playing since day one for almost 30 years now. And it's the songs people like. It's the whole reason we do this, right? You try to connect with people and try to, try to make yourself happy too. But man, I'm telling you, when you're on stage and you look out and people are either sitting there because you're playing, the fourth track from your brand new record, and they're kind of looking at you going, this is interesting. Mm-hmm. Or you're watching them freak out because you're playing fucking Saviors Never Cry. Well, I guess I like Saviors Never Cry.
Right. Yeah, I got it. Final 2 questions have nothing to do with Harem Scarem. Did you know Neal Peart? Did you ever meet him? And what do you think he's meant to, obviously huge to drummers, but to Canadian music, right?
Well, sadly, I never did have the opportunity to meet Neal or any of the other Rush guys. I have never met them. They're national treasures of ours, of course. But no, I think it's horribly sad, man. I mean, when someone that seminal in a department, for drums, for rock drumming, for any drumming, really, the guy was respected all over the world. Like, we've lost such a massive talent, and he's irreplaceable. Many musicians that we lose, like when we lost Prince, it's happening.
But this is close to home, right? This is Canada. It is
very close to home. It's true. And I got to admit, I was a huge Rush fan, as much as I wasn't a drummer. I loved all back to the Farewell and the Kings days and 2112 and Hemispheres, all that stuff. I loved aspects of it. And it's just a drag, man. There's just no way around it. It sucks. It's coming for all of us, and it's really sad to see anyone go, but it's really sad to see such a huge Canadian musical icon go. So,
and my last question is just being a rock musician and fan. your thoughts on Motley Crue coming back to play in 2020, and maybe you don't have any thoughts about it. I don't know.
Nailed it. I don't have any thoughts about it. I couldn't care one way or another. Good for them, and whatever. Like, if you like Motley Crue, hey, good for you guys. You can go see them again. And if you don't, well, then I guess it really doesn't matter either way. No, I have no thoughts on that, truthfully.
All right, haremscarem.net. You have a website. People can check that out. At harem.scarem.band, I think, is your Facebook handle.
Yeah,
there
you'll
as well.
find more action there. The website's a little on the quiet side these days because socials have taken over the universe. But yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
And the shows are there. And like I said, May 31st, ROCKPILE in Toronto. Definitely going to be there. I'm going to talk to the ROCKPILE. I may have to host that show. I do a lot of them there, and good people over at the ROCKPILE. So we're going to have some fun. So Pete Lesperance, thank you, my friend, and change the world. I'm so looking forward to this. I've heard some of the songs, but congratulations once again on another great single and album from Harem Scarem.
Oh, thank you so much, Shane.